Oos, how's it going? Alright, so I wanted to make this video to touch on the JJ and Deji situation. I don't want this video to be about who's right and who's wrong, or about taking sides, because depending how you look at it, they're both right and they're both wrong. Which they both admitted, by the way. But when it comes to a relationship, if you make it about who's right and who's wrong, the relationship is doomed. It's about how can you make the relationship better. Because in a relationship, no matter what kind it is, both people are going to be right at times and both people are going to be wrong. It's inevitable. It's how a relationship works. But their brother drama doesn't really surprise me. It became more clear to me when I met JJ and Deji in person, when I went over to the UK the first time, and especially when I went over to the UK the second time for the Logan fight when Deji was training for Jay. So if you know the saying that styles make fights, personalities make relationships, and these two have probably the worst brother personality dynamic that I've seen. I've seen when brother or sister or sibling dynamics are bad and they clash, and this is a perfect example of one. Yes, they may have things in common, but the core things, they are quite different. So I've been teaching martial arts for a long time, and in doing so, I deal with a lot of different type of dynamics of people and different personalities. I teach siblings, you know, cousins, people who are in a relationship. I've taught almost 25,000 classes. I don't know how many people. And I don't train fighters, so I'm not a fight school or a fight gym. It's a karate school. So you gotta think of me like a teacher, like a school teacher. I do have teens and adults, but the majority of the program is kids. And the kids program is focused more like school, where the curriculum is based around character, behavior, and then obviously martial arts skill and karate skill. My job as an instructor is to focus on the child's, you know, self-confidence, their behavior, their respect level, and those things, along with making sure they have, you know, basic fundamentals and learn to defend themselves and become more physically fit and have those foundations. So I'm constantly having conversations with parents and with kids about how they interact with each other, from parents to children, and then obviously siblings and friendships. One of the biggest things that I see from parents to kids and older sibling to younger siblings is the younger sibling or the child tends to have a natural expectation towards their parent or their sibling. Like they might expect their older brother to look out for them in a certain way, or their parents to do things in a certain way, or be a certain way for them. And those things are based off their own opinion. And when you're a parent, you can understand that because you were a child once and you had parents, so you can understand that your child is gonna have those expectations for you as a parent. But when you're an older sibling, like JJ, who was not a younger sibling, he does not know what it's like to be a younger brother. He does not know what it's like to have those feelings as a younger brother. What it's like to feel like you're in a shadow, or to feel like you want your older brother to be proud of you, or you want that certain kind of connection, etc. He only knows what it's like to be an older brother. I have many siblings, so I was able to see the different dynamics. I'm younger than the majority of one, but I also do have a younger brother. So I'm an older brother and a younger brother. So I didn't have one set expectation for a way an older brother should behave or act towards me or my older sister. So my idea of an older brother or an older sibling is a lot different than when you would say Deji. And it really shows. When I was there in the UK, there was a day or two, I can't even remember, but there was quite a bit of time where it was just myself, Deji, and JJ in the house. And I did spend quite a bit of time talking to Deji, and I did spend quite a bit of time talking to JJ. And when I got there and I told JJ that I wanted to work with Deji, he was excited, he was happy. He had said things to me like, man, I'm really excited you're gonna work with him. You know, he really needs to be pushed or motivated. Sometimes he doesn't want to run with me. I try to get him to run. He said he doesn't want to do that, or like the food issue we talked about. To be honest, that's not really a knock on Deji. Deji hasn't really done anything like this before. It's new to him. And I think he bit off more than he could chew initially. I mean, he kind of threw himself within the mix for the boxing thing. And you're dealing with someone like JJ who's already done it one time around. And JJ's personality and the type of person he is, he's more built for something like this than Deji. Again, it's not a knock, it's just personality types. Like my personality, see, me as an instructor, I'm not someone who will try to convince you to do something. I will encourage you to do so. And if you decide to go after something, I will be there to support you. But I will not convince you to do that thing. You gotta do that. So throughout the weekend, JJ was like, oh, did you work with Deji yet? I'm like, no, he hasn't said anything. Because the manner that I took was I told JJ, hey bro, I know you said you wanted to work with me, so you let me know when you want to do some mitts. And if you want to spar, we can do so. He said he wanted to spar, and he said he wanted to do mitts. I said, okay, you let me know. Because since I already had a hint that he might be reluctant at certain times, I just put it on him. And if he didn't want to train that weekend, if he, you know, never asked me, that's the way it would have went down. What I wasn't going to do is go to his room and say, yo, let's do it, you ready? Come on, man, or we need, you know what I mean? Unless I need a specific time to do it, but I had a lot of time that weekend, so I put it on him. And when I talked to JJ about their situation, about how he's staying there, see, I was there when Deji uploaded the video about JJ not showing him support and not being supportive during their whole fight preparation. I was there when JJ was talking on the phone with his parents, and he was going back and forth, and they had an issue at that time. So I was able to talk to JJ, and he told me how, you know, he's living there, he has the chef prepare him food, and he's trying to, you know, take him out on runs, and he's trying to help him, and how they were upset, how Deji was saying that the Sidemen don't support him and they don't, you know, do anything for him, and he's doing this all on his own. And I can understand why Deji would feel that way. Coming from that younger brother perspective, he's staying in his, you know, brother's house, and he's helping him, and then he's having trouble with the running and, you know, keeping up with the diet, etc. And it feels like it's JJ and the Sidemen against him. Not that hard to see how he would feel that way, even though JJ and the Sidemen really do support him and really do want him to win. I had told JJ that, man, if it was me, I wouldn't have done as much as he did for Deji as I would for my younger brother. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not as supportive, but I think it's important that when you're going to help somebody, no matter who they are, that they have to lead the way. They have to meet you 75 and you meet them 25, not 50-50 or something like that, or vice versa, 80-20 the opposite way. Like, if you want me to help you, you got to tell me when, and then you got to show up and be ready and be prepared mentally and emotionally and physically to do so. If you don't do that, I'm not going to hold your hand or give you any more assistance. And I'm saying that out of experience and training people for a long time, that if you give them too much, if you push them too hard, they'll use it against you, and they'll use it as leverage for themselves, as leverage to blame you for the issue. Making it easier for someone is not always the better thing to do. And JJ was really concerned. He was like, I just don't want him to lose. I want him to go out there. I want him to do his best. I want him to win. I want him to put on his best performance. I want him to be in shape. And I said, yeah, but if he doesn't want to do those things and that makes him lose, then that's what happens. And you just got to be there for him. You just got to be his older brother, which means that no matter what happens to him, you're just there for him. And then on the flip side, Deji's got to realize that his older brother is not going to treat him the way that he thinks an older brother should treat him. And it doesn't mean that's wrong. JJ's his own person. Deji has to realize that JJ's going to give him support in the way that he thinks is best. And that may be tough love, that may be in whatever way he thinks is going to be best. But you got to appreciate that. See, my job as a younger brother is not to judge my brothers and how they see they want to support me. My job is to accept that support and appreciate that love and support, because some other brothers aren't there at all. Some other brothers steal from their siblings, from their family, and you gotta realize that no one is teaching JJ how to be the perfect older brother, and no one is teaching Deji how to be the perfect younger brother either. Like, as siblings and as family, you don't have to agree on everything. You don't have the same political views. You don't need to have the same views on anything, on life and religion or whatever. That's not your job. Your job as a sibling, as a family member, is to be there for that person in the role that you have. So if you're, like, as a younger brother, my job is to allow my older siblings to be there for me. Allow them to be an older sibling. Allow them to feel like they are supporting me. Give them the opportunity to support me and to be there for me. As an older sibling or a parent, your job is not to fix all of your younger siblings or your children's problems. You're not supposed to make it just easier for them. You're supposed to be there so when they fail or when they have the wrong answers, they can seek you for guidance, or just for a pat in the back, or for a hug, or just to say that, hey, I love you and I support you. No matter what you do in life, no matter how you fail or what mistakes you make, I'm still here for you, to be a shoulder to cry on, to be someone to talk to, etc. I think sometimes we try to do too much, and I think we see those personality clashes, and then we start resenting each other, and then you start holding the other person accountable for your life choices and stuff like that. And I can see the turmoil between JJ and his parents, because his parents try to fix that situation. They're trying their best to do what they think is best, to interject and say what should be done, or what JJ should do, or how JJ should react. It's sad to see, but it's actually quite common. You just don't see it escalate to this level because people don't typically have a platform like this, or they don't interact with each other publicly like they do, or have their brand and their career and their income intertwined with all of this. This is why family business is always so tough, because they don't just keep it business. It usually gets personal. I think it's important that you allow people to fail. You allow them to do things on their own and to make mistakes. You shouldn't force them into it. Let me give you an example. I have my students who need to make a run requirement for their black belt test. When I tell them that they need to start preparing for their run if they plan to make it, so I give them a heads up and saying, if you are at this level here and you want to get to this level, you need to start soon. If they're giving mom and dad a hard time about going to do the run, I tell the parents then they shouldn't go for their test. They should wait until they want to start running, instead of because a lot of parents want their kids to succeed. So what they do is, come on, you gotta get in the treadmill, let's go, we gotta get in the car, get dressed, we're gonna go to the track, we're gonna start running. And I try to stop them and say, no, you have to get them to do it. They have to be telling you, mom, can we go to the track today? I need to get ready. That's a part of the lesson. That's a part of what we're trying to accomplish with the student. So if you interject with that and they accomplish the black belt, now the parent should have their name on the belt. and not the kid. And that's how I feel as well, because even though I'm their instructor, I'm teaching them, I'll help them with the run, but I'm not gonna motivate them to do the run. I may encourage them to do so, and then they make that decision themselves. But if I force them to do that through leverage and through bribery or whatever, then they miss out on the lesson, and they feel like, well, you didn't prepare me well enough, or it was just too hard and you pushed me too hard. And then they start saying, then they start believing that they can't do it, and they just accept that they're not capable. And it becomes counterintuitive very fast, and that's what happens. And this is what happened, I believe, with Deji and JJ. JJ wanted his cardio to be improved. He wanted him to be in better shape. So he gave him access to his camp in Vidal. He let him live closer so he can get there, and then he also provided the food. But he just gave him everything that he needed. But it's not gonna be easy. Deji hasn't done this before. So Deji had issues keeping up with it. The camp, living away from his home, it was very uncomfortable and different for him. So when then JJ gave him the ammunition and said, well, if he doesn't prepare, I think he's gonna lose, he's not gonna be ready, then Deji just said, well, see, he's not supporting me. See, a little tip here. For example, how the conversation would have gone with me, and it would say, if it was my brother. If I said, hey bro, where do you wanna train? And he said, I wanna train with Vidal. Great. These are when the times are. Or you can talk to them and then schedule timing. And he goes, well, it's too far away. Okay, then maybe you need to find somewhere else to train. What I'm saying is that I would not offer, oh, you should live here, you should do this, let me give you this. Out of that initial reaction, we'll say, okay, thank you, awesome, I'll do that. But they don't really think about what it's gonna do or what it's gonna take. And then they're gonna start doing it, and it may be too difficult, and then say, well, what the heck, you just put all this on my plate. And parents do this with their kids a lot. Quite often. So I think it's important that you gotta feed yourself. You gotta put yourself on your own plate. So I'm not sure how it went down, but maybe it did go down that way, but I would say I would want him to ask. I would want him to be forthright and say, you know what, is there a room in the Simon house that I could stay? You know, I'll pay rent. Oh, I see that you're eating healthy. Can I talk to your chef so I can get in the same meal plan? When it comes to coaching in a relationship, a sibling, or parenting with kids, that's how it should be. When someone wants to achieve something and you're going to assist them, one person is attacking their goal at 75%, and you're helping them with the other 25. Or 90-10 is even better. That's why people who come from challenging backgrounds and difficult childhoods end up being very successful, because the only way they can be successful is if they attack their goal at 99%, because they're only getting 1% or less than help, or less than 1% help from their environment or from the people around them. I said, just be there for them. Don't offer assistance. Tell them what you think you should do, and then let them live with that. And I know that may suck, because it may mean that he may lose, or he may not be as prepared, and then it may seem like you weren't there for him. And it did tear JJ apart, because he really wanted him to succeed. He really wanted him to win. And his idea of doing that was to push him and challenge him, because that's what's good for JJ. And that's the problem. That's where personalities are different. That you do what you think is best for you, because that's what you know. And that's what parents do too. And that's where you have challenges and issues with relationships constantly. And now you're seeing a battle between right and wrong. You want to allow people to fight their own battles. When you get involved, you may think you're doing it as an ally, but you just become an enemy. Deji has made JJ an enemy when he's clearly an ally. I'm really glad with the video that JJ made, that it wasn't all fun and jokes, you know, that he's trying to be serious about it, because Deji will use that against him. Even if JJ doesn't mean something by it, Deji will take it that way. And this is JJ learning in front of us how Deji is in the way that he sees things. And then in turn, Deji has to learn how JJ is and how they see things. To have a successful relationship in any kind, you have to figure out how the other person views you and the way that they see things, and then vice versa. But that has to be congruent. That has to be, you have to both do it. If only one person does it, it doesn't work. So for example, I need to have a perspective and see how you see things and how you see the world and how you see our relationship. And then you have to do the same. Because if only I'm doing it, right, and then you just go, well, you're supposed to understand how I do things, it's not gonna work. Both people have to be unselfish towards the other person. You start nitpicking and saying, well, you're supposed to understand the way that I feel. You have to try to understand how I feel, and I have to do the same. If it only goes one way, then that's where it stops, and that's where you have that clash. They just have to get out of the right and wrong thing. The right and wrong thing is the worst battle you can get into. The worst. It has to be two people saying, I don't care if you're right or wrong. It's not my job to decide that. It's my job to be here for you. You do the things that you want to do. You're gonna have your challenges, your ups and your downs, and I'm here for your support. But I'm also not gonna jump and fix it for you. I'm also not gonna jump in there and, you know, and give you everything you need. I'm not gonna do that either. And I think it's gonna be good for Deji. I think it's gonna be good for Deji to make sure that JJ is out of his way, so that he can make some more mistakes and have more success on his own terms. I'm glad he didn't get the 10 million. I want him to see him get that 10 million or whatever he wants to get. Have nothing to do with JJ drama or whatever. Just on his own content, on his own merit. So I used their drama as an opportunity to talk about a subject that I think is important. And I think because of the fact that their drama is so big, I hope this gets a lot of views, because it's good for me and it's gonna be good for you because more people are gonna see it. Kill two birds with one stone, which that's such a weird phrase. I don't know. Why is that even a phrase? Why are we even killing birds with stones? Anyways, let me know your thoughts on what I said in the comments below. And if you have any relationships, friendships, siblingships, things with parents that you think this might have helped, you could talk about it in below and try to see some comments there that are actual comments who are trying to have some dialogue and answer some of you guys. All right, leave a like and subscribe. Oos.